All right, so never recorded out in a parking lot when I used to go. All right, so I am stupid uncomfortable out here. The one time that I have recorded my face in the past, for anyone who's watched my stuff for a while, I was at the gym at 2 a.m., so no one was around. It's Labor Day, and there is a ton of people out here. But I figured if I'm going to record my face, we may as well get over the hurdle, right? So I wanted to make short rider tips. It's going to be a little bit different than the average video you've seen because I disagree wholeheartedly with a lot of the advice you've been given. I'm going to give you advice on what to look for when you're buying. Basically tell you not to eliminate a lot of things that others will, and just some advice on how to stay upright and keep your bike up. So, for starters, one of the most important things is going to be seat height versus seat width, right? And I'm 5'7". I am barely legally adult height, but height versus width. This is going to be something that a lot of people, until you've ridden something, you are never going to understand how important this is, right? So on an R1, which is what this bike is, if you look at this seat, this is a very skinny seat, right? So this is my hand. This is a skinny seat. So this seat height is not as scary as it would be on a bike with a wider seat, okay? So seat height and width both play a part. You're not going to be able to get good information on seat width looking at numbers on a spreadsheet, okay? Seat height on this bike, this is a taller bike, okay? So, my hand's right here, right? So this is a taller bike. This is where things are going to get interesting and you're going to start hearing some different opinions. So, again, this is my first time really recording myself out here, so don't expect professional photography by any stretch of the imagination. But my first thing is going to be telling you, don't be afraid of buying a bike that is too tall, because you can buy a lowering link. Okay, that is, I know that's hearsay to some, or not hearsay, that is heresy to some. That is, a lot of people disagree with it. Any bike that a lowering link will negatively impact the ride where it would actually matter, so a sport bike, a very aggressive naked, anything of the sort, it is also going to be able to, you're going to be able to adjust the triple tree, right? So let me show you. You're going to be able to adjust the suspension. Make sure I'm showing this. You can pull the forks through the triple tree, right? This is going to be the same for an MT10. This is going to be the same for a Duke 390. This is going to be the same for any sport bike. You can pull the front forks through the triple tree, which will keep the geometry the same, okay? This bike has a lowering link. There's one little surprise for you. How much has that impacted my riding quality? Good, y'all are gonna hate me for my lack of editing on this video, I can already tell. But how much has that affected my ride quality? None. The only difference between a lowering link, as long as you're pulling the front forks through, you are never going to feel a difference in the suspension of the bike. The only thing it will do is it will increase the wheelbase of the bike, okay? Because when you're squatting that swing arm, it's going to increase the wheelbase a bit. Let me tell you why this falls flat on most people who are giving you this advice. The reason most people will tell you not to get a lowering link, to avoid them entirely, is it's going to change the geometry, and it's going to make the bike either sit way too low, so you're going to drag hard parts way too early. That's not going to happen on any bike made to really lean over, okay? So for starters, throw that one out of the way. This one, I could run it to the edge of the tire just as easy, never going to hit a hard part. Second thing is going to be that it changes the rake and trail. This is true, but if you adjust the front, the rake and trail are going to be identical, okay? The only thing you are going to change is going to be the actual wheelbase because of the way that it is squatting that swing arm down. So when you squat this swing arm down, right, so this bike is lowered, I believe this is it's a 0.8 inch, I believe, don't quote me on that, lowering link, because again, I'm short. So we've pulled, forks are pulled through, identical amount. Rake and trail is identical. The wheelbase, so this is a 55.1. Again, don't quote me on this. I should have looked this up before I made this video. It was a 55.1 wheelbase on this bike. It's now a 55.1 in maybe a half, maybe 55.2 if you were rounding up. It did almost nothing to this bike, okay? It did nothing but make this a more comfortable and enjoyable bike for me to ride. Do not be afraid of lowering links, okay? On bikes that a lowering link is where you do not have the ability to pull the front suspension, so the tubes, through the triple tree, you're never gonna care, okay? This is coming from someone who's ridden lowered 300s. This is coming from someone who's ridden lowered 400s. This is coming from someone who's ridden pretty much every Kawasaki, that beginner intro bike that someone has lowered at some point. It's not going to matter to you. The bike, you are never going to take that bike, unless you are truly going out and just running it, right? I mean, you're turning it into a track bike with aftermarket suspension and everything. Yes, don't do it. You're not going to, right? 99.99% chance that was never a consideration. You are never going to feel a difference, okay? This is the reason why this falls flat, though. Most people, and by most, I mean 95 out of 100 people, don't adjust their suspension, okay? And I've touched on this before. I'm never going to make you a suspension video. That's for you to do on your own time. I'm not going to get you hurt. They don't adjust their suspension. So what most of these bikes are made for, right, with your sag, and this is going to sound a little stupid, but with your sag, when you sit on your bike, how much does it compress, right? So if I'm sitting here, how much is that suspension sagging, right? If I'm sitting on it, okay, how much is it sagging? Most people never adjust anything on their suspension. Stock bikes come, most of the Ninja, let's say the Ninja line from 300 up to the 650, or say the Yamaha MTs are really bad about this. They come with so much sag if you weigh over 140 pounds that you're basically riding on a lowered bike anyway. Then let me explain. A lowering link, all it is doing is it is compressing, right? That's all it's doing. It's bringing the swing arm closer. When you're bringing that swing arm closer, what's different from that and weight on that rear suspension? Nothing, okay? You are effectively, and this is where you got to be a little something to be mindful of. A bike without a lowering link that you are sitting down and you are coming to a comfortable spot with how you sit, right? The compression, the rebound, everything is, the preload is set to where you're sitting and you're comfortable, is worse than a bike with a proper lowering link with preload and sag set correctly. Every single time, okay? So, if you have never adjusted your suspension, if you have never done anything to truly properly set up a bike, and that's not to talk down on you, okay? Let me preface there. The majority of people, they're never gonna see a true benefit to adjusting their suspension, just point blank period. You're gonna notice nothing. You have absolutely nothing but negatives, nothing but positive. I'm gonna mess up and talk so poorly throughout this whole video because these cars keep going by, but you are gonna see nothing but benefits from buying that lowering link, okay? You're gonna be more comfortable, you're gonna be more confident. Your feet being on the ground matters. It really does. I don't care what anyone tries to tell you. I don't care what anyone tries to sell you. It makes a difference, okay? So with that, make sure you buy a bike that is going to fit you comfortably, right? So we're gonna go back to the seat width and the seat height. Do not buy a bike that you are not comfortable on and think that you're gonna grow into it. Never make this mistake. I've made this mistake. Never do it, okay? If it's not a bike that you are comfortable getting a lowering link, so a sport bike with a triple tree and you are able to adjust that front suspension, or you're okay with it adjusting the rake and trail a little bit, if you want to keep everything stock and it doesn't have a triple tree, eliminate the bike. Don't buy it, okay? You're not going to grow into it. You're not going to be comfortable with it. You're never going to feel good on that bike. You will always wish you bought the one that fits you better, okay? My girlfriend had to go through this last year, bought a bike too tall, thought it should grow into it. Didn't want to put a lowering link on it. Never grew into it, right? Never felt confident on that bike. Never felt good on that bike. Buy the bike that fits you. But keep in mind, a lowering link is $200, $300. Get it installed, $400, $500 maybe. If you really like, let's say, a CBR 650, and it's just too tall for you, but you just love everything about that bike, buy the lowering link. It's that simple. Anyone who tries to tell you that a lowering link is going to make a bike absolutely miserable to ride and horrible and just the worst thing ever has probably never ridden one, never sat on a bike with one, never ridden with one, never sat on a bike that's never been adjusted after, okay? And a lot of it is the prevalence on the internet versus, this is one of those things where it's extremely common online where you'll hear people just bashing lowering links, but in real life, they're all over the place. You'd be amazed at how many bikes out on the road have a lowering link because the guys that are putting them in are never going to tell you, oh, don't do that, right? Because it's going to sell them a bike. I'm here to tell you, I don't sell bikes, right? Don't be afraid of the lowering link. You're not getting screwed over when the shop tells you you're not going to see that big of a difference. That's reality 99 out of 100 times. Now, next thing is going to be the tips on how, as a short rider, you're still going to be more confident and comfortable with your bike. So for starters, and I'll probably edit this part out, hopefully that's lowered enough you can see my feet. I'll walk a little closer. But, so this is me on an R1. Hopefully this shows. This is me on an R1 that's lowered a little bit, okay? I still can't flat foot this. Not gonna happen. We'll never flat foot this bike, okay? So this is still tippy-toed to a degree. Nothing crazy, I'm not like out here, but I'm not planted. One of the first things you're gonna have to learn and get comfortable with is learning how to come to a clean stop, and you're learning to favor your left side. Not your right side, you're gonna favor your left side. So I've made a video before that talked about how to come to a clean stop. You're gonna do the exact same thing, but you're gonna do it to a little more extreme degree, and this is going to be something that you have to practice more as a shorter rider, okay? So all you're gonna do, right, is, don't ride a bike without a helmet. So all you're gonna do, right, if we're coming to a stop, left, right? You're just gonna sit out in a parking lot and you're gonna start teaching yourself how to make a bike fall to the left every single time. Tip here is going to be, you're gonna push, right? So if I push left to go left, I'm also gonna push to make a bike fall left, right? So as I'm coming forward, I'm gonna come to a stop and I'm gonna push on my left handlebar and it's gonna favor my left leg, okay? If you're on an incline, you're depending on how much the incline is, depending on the, which way the road is, you may have to quite literally slam your bike this way to make it be able to fall on the left side. The more you practice this, the more comfortable with it you get, the better you're going to be able to do it, and the more consistently you're going to be able to do it. Don't be afraid to go into a parking lot, go gain 5 miles per hour, and I guess I'll probably throw my helmet on and record this too, and throw it in as a little segment just to show it, but get comfortable with it. You can't be too confident coming to a stop, right? And this is still one of my favorite parts about riding a motorcycle, is when I hit that perfectly clean stop, and it's like I hit the perfect balance point, and it's just like a gust of wind is what finally makes it fall to the left, right? It makes me so happy every time. That's what your goal is, and that's what you're aiming for, okay? I'll record over after from here and show you some tips on the front brake and everything and how to get a little better at this. That's going to be step 1. Step 2 is going to be your seating position on your bike, right? So you as a short rider, no matter what you buy, whether it's an MT-07, MT-03, a Versys, whatever you buy, some of the bikes, like the Nakeds, the Standards in particular, they're going to have a different seat, right? So on a sport bike, this seat is massive, okay? On a sport bike, you're never going to sit back here, so you're going to sit more forward, right? You don't have to sit nuts to tank like I do, but you're going to have to come forward because you want your legs in this skinny part right through here, okay? you need to be paying attention to this so that you get that extra little level of clearance, right? If I'm outside on this groove, this ends up being about a 1/2 inch that I miss with my feet on the ground, okay? I need to be in the skinny part of this seat, depending on what you ride, and I wish I had my other bikes to be able to use as examples still. You'll see this with Nakeds. This will fan out quicker, right? So you're gonna have to sit closer. I know you might feel more comfortable. You might think that you're supposed to sit all the way in the back. You as a short rider, sucks to suck, you're gonna have to sit more forward, okay? That's just how you're going to have to ride to be more confident and comfortable and keep yourself planted and happy with your bike, okay? I promise you, as soon as you get in the habit of sitting a little far forward and you get that extra 1/2 inch leg down, it's gonna make everything feel so much better than that little bit of joy you had sitting another 2 inches backwards, okay? It's gonna be the next one. And then the last one. Actually, I forgot the last one. Please hold. All right, it's a good thing I wrote this down because I forgot what my last point was, but this one, this is huge. So the last point is going to be, as a short rider, you need to be comfortable not tiptoeing your bike and learning to get this foot, right, your left foot, flat on the ground. My camera's crooked. Oh well, you're gonna learn to get this foot flat on the ground and lean the weight of the bike against it, okay? So I'm basically standing up like this with my bike, right? This foot's over here. I can sit this like this. Whoa. I can sit this like this, right? I need to be comfortable with this weight against this leg, okay? This is gonna give me so much more confidence, despite the fact you almost saw me fall right there. This is gonna give me so much more confidence. It stops. This is gonna make it where inclines now feel comfortable, because I'm not trying to sit here and tippy toe, right, with this. And I'm a little scared it's gonna go that way, and if it goes that way, I might not be able to do it, right? Get to where you can comfortably plant it, lean, okay? Planted, lean. The bike's gonna shift out from underneath you. I promise it's okay. You're gonna feel more comfortable when you get used to this. Be able to have this weight sit against your leg, okay? You're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel more confident. Never seen anyone else mention that before. And as a short individual myself, that's probably the best tip I can give you out of everything, is don't sit there. Let me scooch back real quick and try and, right, because you're gonna try and do it with one foot. You're gonna be real scared, and you're gonna be a little shaky. And what if it starts going too far, and then you start leaning this way, right? Now I've lost my leverage on this foot. It's super easy to drop. Versus, right, we're a little scooted up, okay? Come to a stop. I'm gonna go, boom, flat foot, right? This foot, there's no chance in hell is this thing ever touching the ground, but my bike is planted. I can sit like this all day, right? This is gonna be the number one thing I can tell you to get comfortable with. You're gonna be able to do this with any bike, no matter the height. It's just gonna be a matter of how much weight you can hold that starts to become a problem, okay? So like a BMW GS, I can do this. I'm gonna get tired, okay? The more comfortable you get with this, the more planted you are, the better you're gonna feel, right? So even if you get the lowering link, get whatever you want, right, and you're still tiptoeing it a little bit, and you come to stops and you just have this shaky feeling, right? You feel like you're shaking no matter how good you get with your balance, right? Because you're just tiptoeing it, right? Tiptoe, tiptoe. I wanna be able to plant this foot, right? Again, this one, like I can touch the ground, but not really doing anything. I wanna be able to plant this foot and stand up with my bike. Okay, you don't actually have to stand up. This is just for demonstration purposes, but you want to be able to have your weight that heavy on that leg, okay? The weight against that bike sitting like this. That'll make you feel so much better. And that's really the best tip out of here. Lowering links, weight against the leg, okay? Hope this helps. If you find a way to make me taller, please let me know. That would be awesome. This is a super uncomfortable video to film, and let's hope it turns out at least half decent. So I'm gonna get on the bike and show you some slow speed stuff here, but I'll edit that backwards. So yeah, I need a haircut too. Thank you. My front brake and my push are going to be timed simultaneously, right? It's going to be very small, right? This is all I'm doing, right? Hopefully this is showing on the camera. Boop, okay, boop. So let me get up. I'm already going. And all you're gonna do to practice and just spend as much time as you need. I mean, spend 2 hours doing this, who cares, right? So again, I'm just gonna go ahead, we're gonna pretend like we're riding around on the street, and I'm gonna cover my front brake, and I'm coming to a stop, right? So I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna stop, rear brake, stop. Fell on the left. Right, same thing, rear brake, stop. Okay, you seeing when I'm bringing that front brake into it? And I'm gonna use both this time. And then when I want a full stop, boom, left. I'm having to kind of exaggerate this movement a little bit to make this show on camera, but front brake, and stop. It's pretty easy, right? This will single-handedly change the way that you're stopping, right? So, boop. Go up this way. All right, so my foot's on my peg, so, and this is gonna be the best way to do it, really. Just ride with like your feet on your pegs. Get up, get going, and then we're coming to a stop, right? Both brakes. I need to come to a stop, and bang, right? Do that over and over. And if you happen to be somewhere with a parking lot with, you know, some incline to it, I highly recommend it. You're gonna notice that the more incline there is, the more you have to push to fall the correct way. But just keep doing it. Left. You're gonna push, boop. That's it. Okay.